everyone, this is Paul Gale from PaulGaleNetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is October 15th, 2020, and these are the top stories of the day. Beginning with the PlayStation 5 UI, which we are getting to see right here. Sony provided this to us this afternoon, and overall it looks pretty good. It's pretty crisp, and I also have a comparison between this and the Xbox Series X one. So spoiler, that's what's coming up next to talk about. But I'm going to switch between the two back and forth a couple of times. But the reason why I kind of went ahead and began talking about Xbox also being here is that one of my comments on this particular image is that it's in 4K. Sony confirmed that its UI, its home screen, will be displayed in native 4K. So if you have a 4K TV and you've got a PlayStation 5, you will be experiencing 4K resolution in some capacity from the get-go. Of course, when you enter your games, that's to be expected. It is 4K there too, right? But the home screen is in 4K. You can see on PlayStation's official YouTube page a video where they show some gameplay footage and they go back and forth. They talk about how there will be a different section for entertainment things like Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, whatnot. And yeah, overall, pretty crisp, pretty nice. And next up is the Xbox Series X UI. Now, the reason why I mentioned the 4K resolution specifically is because on Xbox Series X and S for that matter, its UI is in 1080p. But that doesn't mean the hardware is weaker or anything like that. No, it just means that the user interface, when you turn on the system, the first thing that you see is going to be in 1080p. Kind of weird though, right, when you think about it at first, because the Xbox Series X is being kind of touted as the most powerful machine this generation. So why would it be 1080p here and not 4K? And that's because it looks like it takes about a gigabyte of data for a 4K UI to be running. And Xbox had conversations between themselves and multiple developers, and developers said that they could benefit from having more RAM. So Microsoft made the decision sometime earlier on that they would take a little bit less resources for things like the UI and the system from that CPU perspective and stick it onto the GPU. So as we know, the Xbox Series X does have more RAM than PlayStation 5, and in those areas it does outperform it. We'll see eventually which system fares better in terms of games and overall looks and speed, depth of game, new experiences, and all of that, because the PS5 does have the faster SSD going for it, so the systems kind of balance themselves out. However, up front it looks like Xbox Series X is still probably going to be the more powerful. But no fears, once you leave this home screen and you hop into any of these Xbox Series X games or go back in time to play an Xbox 360, Xbox One, or Xbox original title, with that swapping feature, which is pretty nice. If the game supports 4K, it'll be a 4K game, which at this point everything will be in 4K. Unless if something is just this random old title that doesn't have a 4K resolution output mode. But what do you think between these two? Similar approach. They're both clean. They're both pretty crisp. Xbox Series X has some bigger icons for its games in comparison to the PlayStation 5 ones. Possibly, yeah. Even the time is close to the same time in the two images. Of course, you could also see more from the Xbox Series X and its UI on Microsoft's own YouTube page, Facebook page, etc. What do you think? Do you have a preference between these two? It all comes down to the games, but sometimes people say, oh no, I like that look more. I like the way that, these squares are rounded out, or oh no, I like these squares being flat, and this right here is better for me, and oh yeah, this right here is better for me. You know what I mean? Like, there's no clear winner. I guess if I had a pick between the two, I am favoring this a little bit more, possibly because I'm liking the bigger tiles and seeing them on the screen like that. But like I said, it's going to come down to the games, and I think no matter which route you take, if you're a single console gamer between Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5, you're going to have a solid time this holiday season. Next up, video game sales. It's a short news day, by the way. Aside from what I just showed off, the only thing left to talk about today is my weekly hobby of tracking video game sales coming out of Japan. As always, this is courtesy of Chris1964 putting things together from the Famitsu sales charts coming out of Japan, and they are presented on resetera.com. So check them out if you want a good place to talk about a lot of games with a really big community. But with that being said, I'm going to use this chart here to break it down and tell you what's up for the week of, October 5th to October 11th, 2020. Coming at number 1, we have a new entry. Making its way onto the charts is FIFA 21 for PlayStation 4 at 39,152 copies sold. Number 2 is Animal Crossing, which saw a slight bump this week. 37,544 is where it landed. Ring Fit Adventure, another little bump up from the previous week. This time, 33,502 delivering. Not new. I keep saying new. I think I did that last week as well. Super Mario 3D All-Stars with another 22,027. You see this, 30-ish% drop each week, but still pulling out respectable numbers. And this is also before that holiday season. I expect Mario to go up some more come, Christmas time in Japan. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, up 4%, another 12,000. FIFA 21, the Nintendo Switch version, 11,990. Now there's a lot of talk between FIFA 21 on Switch and FIFA 21 on other titles. And I think that if EA honestly put in more effort, this should be selling better than this. Nintendo Switch is doing really well in Japan. More people have it now than they do a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One. People in Japan in particular really like their consoles small and taking up a smaller footprint in their homes, and they are really big fans of handhelds and taking their machines on the go. There's no reason why FIFA 21 shouldn't outsell the PS4 version, but that's one of those things that I say. You can't just be naive and buy anything on Switch over another version if it's running like crap on the system or the other version is so much better. You can make an argument with things like Doom, with things like Dragon Ball Fighter Z, where the difference in quality and visuals is not dramatic. Both are very solid. That if you prefer a little bit better graphics and more smooth frame rate, you get the Xbox One version or whatever. But if you are okay with the graphics still looking very good and the whole meat and potatoes of the game being there and just running a little bit low frame rate, Nintendo Switch is really attractive for a lot of people. FIFA 21, come on, EA dropped the ball with this. They should be putting more effort on this platform. Hopefully that changes. Maybe with the Nintendo Switch Plus model, they'll have more incentive to put more beef into their games, but that's enough talk about FIFA for now. Pokemon Sword and Shield, still on the charts, another 7,000. Minecraft for Nintendo Switch, another 6,859. I'll move myself out of the way for a little bit. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, another 6,000. And Clubhouse 51, another 5,900. Now, one of the things that I should mention about Minecraft, going back to that, is you got a nice 16% jump from the previous week. And I wonder why. Probably because Steve is in the game in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Recently got announced, and as of today's recording, has already been available to play for a couple of days, and it is quite a bit of fun. 9-to-1 split between Nintendo Switch and PS4. That's usually a thing that we see. Finally, moving on, we've got our look at hardware, and this is just impressive. We're in the month of October, where typically we do see strong video game sales, hardware sales in the month of October in Japan. It really gets crazy in November and December. I mean, you're going to see millions of consoles sold in a short amount of time. But Nintendo Switch is already outperforming its last year by a lot. 56,000 last year for this respective week, 108,575, almost doubling it. Also surpassing its previous week. PS4 at number 2 with 4,500, a respectable drop from last year and from last week. 3DS 947, also a fair drop. And Xbox One at 30, which, you know, all things considered, at least it did better than the previous week, but nothing to brag about. It'll be very cool to see once these hardware charts also have PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S. I hope, for Microsoft's sake, they break more ground in Japan with the Xbox Series systems than any of their predecessors, because I think they deserve it, especially with the Game Pass Ultimate model. I mean, it's so attractive, but we'll see. All right, that's going to do it for today's video game news. Like I said, it's kind of a short segment today. Let me know what you think about the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 UIs, and if you want to talk a little bit about the video game software hardware charts coming out of Japan, I'll be happy to do so with you. Alright, thanks for watching. PGN signing out. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. See you next time. Bye.